this sweet potato I've ridden more as a thruster than any of the other potatoes.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I used to be like, no, what are you doing? I used to not want to even put the center fin in. But this one, I was like, no, I go to the center fin a lot.
Oh, so when you're riding it as a pure thruster or 2+1?
I when I ride it, I was riding it as with a medium thruster fin. So it's like super small for me, but bigger front fins, but not full on 2+1.
Oh, interesting.
They're just like big. They're like MR template front fins that are just a little smaller, not full
Oh,
on. Yeah.
yeah, because I think Futures just came out with the T2, and I checked the sizing. It's just like the MRs. It's pretty close.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, huh. I remember talking to you before about wide boards like this, and you were talking about splitting the board. Can you explain what that is again?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, what we're doing by having that double barrel concave is you're able to roll over the board onto that rail and tip it more easily than if that bottom was one connective bottom. And so if that was just a big single concave, it's much more difficult to tip over. And so that break, that V, it's not a VV, but it's the tip of the double barrel concave in the center allows for the board to roll over much easier.
Oh, so and then I noticed that it has a concave almost to the nose, and then it starts like a almost like a boat hole kind of ish.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
one of my paddleboarding days. Being, when you paddle and if you can cut the water a little bit, you get above it a little bit at that slow speed, and then when you get up to higher speed, you're back on the concaves and you're more fluttering on top of the water anyway. So when you're going slow and barging through the water, you want a little front end to cut it, and that's been on the potatoes ever since the beginning.
Yeah. So when you first started working on that design, did you have like, I'm sure you had a bunch of renditions, or you just kind of hit it the first design?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward because a lot of the old school guys have that in their fishes and old like single fin. The guy who I learned it from was Mike Eaton and Stu Kenson. They would both have that very, it also drops the entry point up for the rocker, so that's a little lower too, but in the center. So you gain a lot of advantages, and yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I knew it couldn't be too radical because from a design standpoint, I didn't want it to be too radical of a forward V that would then be difficult to blend into the double barrel. So it couldn't be too radical because it had to go into a radical double barrel that's sitting in a concave. So yeah,
huh.
so it was that part was a little bit tricky on the transitions, but 2 or 3 renditions, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And then the tail, I mean, I like it because it's nice and thin, and
Yeah, yeah,
I just on small days I'm usually at Kiwalos, and when it stands up, I took it the very first time I took it, it was like almost head high, and I go, oh man, I got the wrong board. I'll just try it out. You take off late, and it if it stands up, it still bites.
yeah. And the key with that is to just believe in your back foot and just bury it, and then the board will go because of that blady tip and that real sharp point.
Yeah, I've been learning to even not be so forward like a fish on this thing, but strip it off the tail big time, and it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference, and more so on this design than a lot of the other designs. If you commit and put your foot all the way back and just drive off your back foot and really push, it responds really well.
Oh, right on. I know you were talking about, so before you used to have it in the Timber Tech, and then you got on to the Helium. What are the biggest difference in feels from the two boards?
So the weight is so important to keep it light as much as you possibly can and maintain the durability. And that's what the Helium's doing is giving us a ton more weight advantages of keeping it light and skatey.
Yeah.
And then it's also just a little more alive under your foot. The spring back of at least under your foot of that material isn't a big hard, wood feeling, but it gives you a little more of a springy, lively feeling. I feel like, And that's been most of the feedback I've been getting from people too, is that kind of same thing.
So, what's the biggest surf that you've taken this board out, and how big have you pushed it?
Um, the sweet potato definitely overhead, but it was slopey. I'm
Oh,
working on another prototype that as soon as the surf's good, I'm on that one. But yeah, I've been out in really big but slopey surf on it, and just going like ridiculously fast and turning back on your own turn, and
uh-huh.
just connect turns and stuff like that. So a few times overhead, and then more than a few times like head high, and
Oh,
a
right
little.
on.
Yeah, but most of the time it's a groveler, pure and simple.
Yeah, man, I can't get off of it.
Yeah, cool, good, good.
Yeah.
Focus.